All right. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Through the Woods. I am Kyle Woods, your host today. And sitting across from me is Jake Black, the owner of Lost Grove. Jake, thank you for being here.
Kyle, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So anybody that lives in the Treasure Valley that knows anything about the brewery industry, Jake's name and face will be all over the place. He's done amazing things. Just really glad that you took time out of your day to catch up with us and talk to us about things that are going on at Lost Grove.
Yeah, no worries, Kyle. Yeah, always excited to talk about beer.
Yeah. So Jake and I have a little bit of history sitting in front of a microphone. I made Jake cut a commercial with me a couple of years ago, and he did a phenomenal job for it. So I thought it would be good to get him on a podcast with me. And he's got a voice for radio, a face for TV. We'll say that.
I don't know about that, but close enough.
Perfect. Well, I think it's kind of important for us to just kind of know who Jake Black is, where you came from, what you started in, and with most people in the brewery industry, they didn't start in it. It just all of a sudden it was a side passion that they were doing, and then all of a sudden they say, I want to do this for a living. So where did you start before you got into the brewery world?
So I was born and raised here in Boise, and I went over to Portland and went to school over there to get my hospitality and restaurant management degree, and then moved back to Boise pretty shortly after getting that degree, and started working for Bitter Creek Ale House. And so I was at Bitter Creek Ale House and was part of their management team over there for their front of house management. And then I actually I quit there and left to kind of go on an adventure. So when I left Bitter Creek, I ended up living down in Nicaragua for about a year, which was a ton of fun. And during that time, I was still chatting with an old high school buddy, Mike Francis, who's the founder of Payette Brewing Company, And so when chatting with him while I was down in Nicaragua, I submitted a resume to go and help him get Payette Brewing Company started. So I moved back in December of 2010 is when I started getting my feet wet in the brewery business, and started working with Mike right at that time. And then we opened up Payette in May of 2011, and then been in the brewery business ever since.
I didn't know you and Mike went to school here. So what high school is this that you guys graduated from?
Boise High.
Oh, Boise High.
Yeah, he was an 02 grad and I was 04, so he's a little bit older. But
okay. Yeah, that's some good history. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah.
Nicaragua, how'd you end up down there for a year?
Actually, Mike's and I's mutual friend who connected us with, which kind of pushed us towards Payette Brewing Company. He moved to Nicaragua to open up a hostel. And so when he heard that I was quitting my job at Bitter Creek, he hit me up and said, hey, do you want to come to Nicaragua and help me open a bar at my hostel?
Wow.
So, yeah.
What a great experience.
It was awesome. Yeah, I was 23 at the time, 22, going on 23. So It was a ton of fun down there. Yeah.
All right. So you were at Payette, and then you're like, I need to go do this. I need to start my own brewery. So we have Lost Grove. So talk about this name, Lost Grove. So I know it's out there on the website a little bit, but it's better to hear it exactly how you say it.
For sure. Yeah, no. Lost Grove, it took a bit, to kind of, find the name and figure out exactly, why, right? That's kind of the whole purpose. And for me, I realized Boise was my Lost Grove, right? In a sense. So, I born and raised here, moved to Portland, moved back from Portland, was here for a few more years, decided to move away again, moved back to Boise. And both times of moving away, I definitely was homesick. Boise was my place, and that's where I wanted to be. And, so it kept bringing me back. And so, when going through different names and, kind of that idea, it's like, Boise is my Lost Grove. It's the place that makes me happy. And so that's kind of what it's all about. It's like, find your Lost Grove and find what makes you happy, and then make sure that you keep that close to you. And so, the thought isn't necessarily that it's a place for everybody, but it could be a mindset or, an activity that you do, or just the people you surround yourself with. And so that's kind of the idea, is that it's bigger than just the one thing, or there's a lot of brewery names out there that are specific places,
Right.
and for me, I want our brand to be able to travel nationwide or worldwide, right? And
Right.
still have the same meaning wherever you go. So,
I love that. And then the other thing that goes with the name is that sometimes there's a particular location you want to be at, and there's a particular building that you want to take on because of the history or the story behind it. So tell us, I mean, and I'm going to add this too because Jake and his dad are like master craftsmen. So this place that they took over that Jake's going to tell you about, you need to talk about the work that you guys put into this. But where is it, and why'd you pick this area? And then kind of tell us about the history of the building and what your idea and the work that you guys were putting into that, what you're trying to make.
for sure, yeah, and it kind of goes along with Lost Grove as well. Like I found Lost Grove down in the Lusk district. I found that building first, and that was like, this seems like it can be a perfect brewery. And this other space, so we were fortunate enough to be able to sign a long-term lease down in Hyde Park, which we're super excited about, in the old Sunray Cafe building. And it kind of goes back to the same thing where I was really looking for, another location. And I was born and raised just blocks away, and, had soccer practice in Sunset Park and over at Camel's Back Park, and did hikes over there. And so it's just always been in my backyard. And so when having the opportunity to work with Dave and be able to buy his business and, take on that lease, we're pretty excited. So we're trying to kind of transform the interior into something that's, who we are and what Lost Grove is all about. So we're in the process of, getting that done.
Well, yeah, well, tell us. I definitely want to talk about where your new location is. And so talk a little bit more about what is your plan there. What's the look, and what are you trying to do? And is there food you're going to be serving there? And I mean, what is it that we can expect in the Hyde Park area?
For sure. So as far as like look and feel, is that we're really, still true to like our current Lost Grove vibe and feel. So we are going to have a lot of, reclaimed barn wood. So we've got some family friends from North Idaho that my dad's actually heading up there in a couple days to pick up a bunch of old barn wood that we're going to be using for the space, which is cool. And then, really that similar exterior for Lost Grove as well, the greens and the grays. So we really think it looks nice. It'll kind of spruce it up a little bit, but really keep that brand image for us. But then again, it goes back to, the idea of, what makes you happy. And our head chef's a amazing guy. And he's really inspired by kind of that Asian cuisine. And so we wanted to make sure that we were going to do something different in the area, and not just kind of that same menu that you see all over town.
Right.
And so, we're going to have some bao buns and some banh mi sandwich. We'll still have your good burger, but we'll also have dumplings, fried chicken sandwich. So we've got a bunch of fun kind of new items on the menu that'll have a little bit of a twist, on that American pub fare, but still very much that, heavy Asian influence. So it's just kind of for us, it's just what we like to eat and, what we think that there's missing in that space. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's gonna be that'll be. So when is the grand opening of that, or is there not a date quite yet
We
set
don't
on that?
have a date quite yet for that grand opening, but we very much will be open in mid-May is kind of that target that will be open and rock and roll into the public. So we'll have 24 beers on tap, a full liquor license, which is pretty sweet,
Oh wow,
and then a massive
yeah,
patio. So
wow,
yeah.
full liquor license.
I know it's just,
That's a score right
yeah,
there.
one of those that's even being a brewery, people
Oh
like
yeah.
their liquor too, and like we said, we're trying to find something for everybody. So
Oh, it is, and
yeah,
I mean it's a different crowd as well. So
yeah,
right, so
yeah, for sure.
it opens it up to a lot of people.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about what's going on at the Lusk District with what you did down there. What are the things that event wise and things that you have going there as well? So let's talk about there.
Yeah, so we're excited. We're hosting Tree Fort again this year, which will be a ton of fun. So we've got bands playing Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of next week. March, what is that? 23rd, 24th, 25th, I believe. And then, this summer we really are excited to try and host some more like concerts out on our back patio. If you haven't been down there, the back patio is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Put a lot of work into it last year, and I think it turned out really well. So we're excited to get that opened up again. We're working on getting it open actually this week so that it's ready for tree fort, and then kind of taking down our tent that we have out there and sprucing it up so that when we get those random sunny beautiful days, we can roll up the doors and have everybody sit outside again. So
Well, and let's talk about like Shade City too, as long as we're kind of on events and things that you're doing. So let's talk about Shade City.
yeah, we got a couple, besides just tree fort, we got Shade City coming up, which this year it's going to be bigger and better. So it's up at the Botanical Gardens. So we're doing it to all you can taste this year. So we'll have it on Friday night and then also Saturday afternoon. And then one of the things that I'm probably the most excited about Shade City this year is we're having an after party at the old penitentiary. So we will have 3 bands rocking at the old pen from 6 till 10. And we got Mad Alchemy Light Show that'll be there. That's going to be just absolutely amazing, where they do this art projection on the walls behind the band. So it should be a ton of fun. Yeah.
So is that something where you'd have to pay a fee entrance or something like that up there? Is that part of a ticket?
Yep. So they run as 2 separate tickets. If you can buy a combo to get kind of the both days and the after party kind of deal. Or you can buy, just an after party ticket or a day and an after party, so you can break it up kind of whatever works best for you. It is 21 and over, which, there's a lot of opportunity, and we love kids. Our brewery has a ton of kids, and we'll have a ton of kids down in Hyde Park, but we also feel that there's a time, and place. And, Beer Fest that's a place for adults to go hang out and enjoy some beers, enjoy some beverages. Yeah. So, it was a tough decision, but we're excited about the fact that it's 21 and over, so that, get your babysitter, leave your kids at home, come have a good time, right?
Yeah, go enjoy.
Go enjoy. Yeah, and be responsible. We've got a really cool partnership with the city bus department, and so you're working on being able to present those routes and safe, easy routes to be able to hop on your local bus system and come out there. And then we're also working with the deal with some scooters as well, and we'll also have a big bus transporting people from downtown. So if you just want to make it a whole evening and get a hotel room or something, and then hop on our bus and it'll take you out to the festival.
Probably
and
that
drop you back
transit
off.
system would be better anyway, is because I imagine parking's probably pretty limited, if any, up in that area. Is there?
Parking's pretty tight. Yeah. We highly recommend, different means of transportation for, good reason too. Just you're going to come have some beers. So, ride a bike or, get out, do something besides have your vehicle for sure.
Yeah.
So,
well, and then talk about the neighborhood concert series. I think that's another cool one. Are you guys going to hit that up again this year?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we're really excited about that too. The city of Boise has come on as a partner with us in that as well. So we got 6 different parks. We haven't quite made our announcements yet on which parks. We actually just did a call to artists, looking for some local artists to kind of send in their work. And it was just talking with the team, and we got a bunch of cool, I think, 75% of the artists that submitted were new from previous years, so that's really neat. And that one's just really fun. It's a partnership with the Morrison Center, and they're just a great organization. So we love being able to just hang out with them and provide music to, everybody.
Yeah,
it's kind of the goal.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
And then another one that we missed that's really cool too is, we'll be doing our Idaho Gives Day celebration.
Oh, yes.
And so that's where we invite, 50 nonprofits to come down, over on our block and
hit us
line
up
the
on
streets.
that day. What's that date?
That's the first Thursday in May every year.
Yeah.
So it's a rotating date. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's the 3rd or the 4th this year.
Okay.
But it's also just a phenomenal day as well where, a bunch of nonprofits, they're kind of showing off what they do. We got Birds of Prey usually that are down there. We've got some performers that are taking place. We've always got some bands and music, and all the beer that's sold out there, those profits are donated back to the nonprofit. So it's a really cool just awareness and an opportunity to talk and see all the nonprofits that we have here in town.
Yeah,
so.
and the last couple of years, it's just gotten bigger and bigger too. I mean, it's like, what is it, 20 or 30 different booths down there, or maybe not.
Actually, we had 50.
Yeah, so huge.
Yeah. So we are contemplating maybe expanding it into the park over at Ann Morrison so we can have more nonprofits. but we're kind of working through those details right now to get them all sorted out. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, great stuff that you got going. I mean, this summer is going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of stuff happening, especially
Yeah.
with what you've got going. So now, what really most people want to tune in about is let's just talk about the brewing industry. So you've been in it for a while now. So where was it when you got into it and where are you at now? So I guess some of the things that we're looking at is, the costs that are associated with it. More and more people are opening breweries. So is competition a big issue as well? Or is it just something that everybody's part of one family? So just kind of talk about the industry and what it's up to, where it came from and what it's up to and kind of where we're going to go.
Yeah, for sure. Some fun, facts right out of the gate is, when I was with Payette and Payette opened up, I believe we were the fourth brewery to open in Boise, or to be open currently at that time in Boise. And we are number like 1,783 in the country. And 6 years later, when Lost Grove opened up, 6.5 years later, Lost Grove was brewery like number 23 in the city and number like 7,800 in the country. So, I mean, just in that span of 6 years, that growth has just been absolutely insane. But the one thing that's fun about the brewing industry is that, 95% of everybody that's, working for breweries or have started the brewery or, they're passionate about beer, and like you said, at the beginning of this conversation is that usually brewers come from some other place, or have some other background, and they've chosen, to join this lifestyle and to create this product and, to be a part of it. And so it does create, pretty nice like camaraderie amongst ourselves, and so even though there is competition there, we still also just enjoy the beer and enjoy, the idea that we're creating a product for people and it's, a fun, passionate business. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so everybody gets along pretty well. Competition's still competition. You always want to try and, brew the best beer and make sure that, your beer's on tap. But at the end of the day, it's just, about making good beer.
I mean, is there a
serving people.
challenge out there to find raw product or is that there's plenty available?
It's an interesting deal where right now there's an abundance of hops. So hop farmers are, coming back saying, hey, we're actually cutting back on crop right now. And so you might want to get some contracts if there's specific hops that you really like. And so we'll see kind of how that trends in that area as far as, on the barley and wheat side of it, we haven't seen anything too tough on our end. We're also pretty fortunate that we're really right at the beginning of the supply line for both of those commodities. So, it's pretty easy for us to get our hands on it. But price wise, things have come up pretty drastically, just in the last 10 years. So everything's about 50% more than it was, 10 years ago. So,
Yeah, and I think that's, a lot of consumers need to be aware of that, because just in the last couple of years, we're seeing the cost of a pint, whether it started out at $4 or $5 and pushing 7, maybe 8 and 9 now, and it's because some of that cost that you guys have to take on the front side is now kind of coming back on the retail side.
oh,
So,
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, hops are drastically more expensive, and grain itself is, just our base malts have, almost doubled in price. So, yeah, it's definitely, something that we have to pass on to the consumer
Right.
is, everybody thinks maybe that from the outside it looks like a very lucrative business, but, you got to get to a certain point before you really start getting into that lucrative aspect of it.
Well, and I think that's something I want to talk to you about too, because I mean, just starting up a brewery, I mean, it's not a simple thing. I mean, there's a lot of costs associated with that first startup. Finding the equipment is even harder. A lot of times you can't even get new; you have to get used from someone else. So, kind of talk about a little bit about when a brewery starts up. A lot of breweries have gone towards investors. So what's that like when you start a brewery and if you have investors, what it's like to work with the investors and, how are those board meetings and how does that go?
Yeah, I've been really fortunate. It's a really capital intensive industry. And, I think that a lot of people kind of miss on that a little bit as well when they get started up and can become cash strapped. And so, it's one thing that you definitely want to look at your projections and make sure you're kind of in the right realm and really do your homework on it. But investors, a lot of people are also excited to be able to invest in something that's local and tangible, right? And it's, they can have pride in it and see it on the shelf and go to events where it takes place. And I've been really fortunate that my investment group, is all of them are really excited about
Yeah.
what we're doing and, excited to be a part of it. And so it's made it a lot easier for myself. But I was also pretty stuck to my guns, with what expectations were. This is how it's going to go. This is where we're at. And made sure that the investors that I brought on would also be good partners for me,
Right.
and didn't just look at the dollar sign, but also looked to make sure that, we had similar values and, would align together. And so that way that also makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah,
So
know that it's just not an overnight thing, that they're with you in the long haul. It's going to take some time and your brand has to get some recognition, and then from there it can start taking off.
for
So,
sure, yeah, and
yeah.
COVID, I think, really, brought to my eyes, and not that I didn't already believe that I had a great investment group, but through COVID, really brought to my eyes on how just
Nice.
amazing my investment group
Yeah.
was.
That is
Just
great.
showing up to support and telling their friends, and so it was
Yeah, there
great.
was
Yeah,
enough stuff during COVID, so it's good that you have investors that are just got your back. That just helps you through that time.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, so this stuff isn't just for show. We definitely want to talk about it, and so we were talking about brand and labeling a little bit. So, tell us what you got going on with these right here.
So these ones are really fun. Two things going on here. One, these were Derek, who's now our head brewer. So we started off with a gentleman named James Hickson, who was our head brewer for a while, and did a great job. But he followed love and had to move away, and so Derek came on board, who has done a great job with all of our products and our brand, and really excited to have him as a partner in this business. And he brought a barrel aged series to us. He was really passionate about barrels and, really wanted us to do some barrel aged beer. So I said, 100%, let's get behind it. And so last year we released 5 barrel aged beers. This year we'll be releasing 5, and we got a couple that will be some hidden ones too that'll be popping out. But so that was a whole new deal, was the barrel aged beer. So these are 3 out of our 5 barrel aged beers. And then the other fun part was our marketing director came and said, "Hey, I think we should start working with some local artists. Let's try and put together kind of an artist in residence program." And so we kind of paired the two up. We thought this would be a perfect fit, where we've got this cool new barrel aged series, and then we can pair our artist in residence program to create the labels for our barrel aged series. And so, we were fortunate to find Miguel Alameda. He's an amazing local artist, and he actually did 2 out of the 3 of these: our Morning in the Mountains, and then also Found in Space. The third one that I brought here was this year's artist in residence and our second year's version of Yersinia. And so that's our Imperial Stout, which is really nice. And so that's our new artist in residence. You kind of see the difference there, which is kind of fun, and that's what we're really excited about, is just to see those nuances, and to be able to kind of create a collection of cool artwork.
Yeah, and I think the cool thing is Miguel's on your website, so it tells his story, which is really neat.
Yep.
So, how'd you come up with this? Was this something he designed and people voted on, or was this something that you guys just said as soon as you saw it, you're like, nope, that's a label, that's what we want right there?
Yeah, we gave a look for our artist in residence, how we did it. So to pick our artist in residence, we did a really big call to action. And this year we had about 24 artists apply. And it was actually a really difficult decision to make. There were a ton of phenomenal artists, and we brought together a committee for this year. It was our management team, and then we've got some creatives that work for another company that help us with some of our branding work, and then a couple of our regulars, which was fun. And so we brought everybody together in a room, and we took about 2 hours, and we went through 24 different artists and kind of narrowed it down, and that's how we picked this year's for Jay. And
Nice.
yeah, it was a really fun process, and it's pretty cool. But once the artist is selected, we really kind of let them be the creative. And so we help with some suggestions. They kind of send over a little rendering of
Mhm.
like, here, this is the direction I'm headed, and so far, knock on wood, we've just been excited about what they've sent us, and said, that looks awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to see the final product. And, they get an opportunity to go back at it and, finish it up. So, yeah, so it's been really fun. On the names, we basically gave them names and then they went from there kind of deal. So,
Yeah, that's kind of what I want to talk to you about too, because that's kind
yeah,
of the other thing that's going on is the naming,
right.
especially what you guys have been doing lately, like just robot, almost like anything, right? I mean,
Yeah.
what is going on there?
The robot series is really fun. This is one that JT brought to us, our old head brewer. And it's a funny one. It's kind of cute in the sense, right? Where it's, so the robot series is our hazy IPA series. And, the naming convention comes from anything that would be spooky if it was robotic. So, it's like a robotic squid. It's like, yeah, how the heck are you going to kill a robotic squid, right? Can't kill with water. It's going to be hard to get it out, to put fire on it because it's underwater. Like, that would be insane. And so our next hazy that's coming out is robotic squid. And so that's the name behind it. And feelings, robotic feelings, kind of
Yeah.
creepy.
Yeah.
So that's where the robot series
I
brand
love it.
comes from, is that things that would be spooky if they were
Right.
robotic. And then it's just, yeah, I think it lends itself also to, our creative partners, for the illustrations. It's a fun thing to draw. And so it also leaves the door pretty wide open. There's a lot of spooky things out there in the world. So we figure we can, have a ton of names to bend off.
Has
of
it
there.
been catchy? Has it caught on? People,
Oh, I don't know if they necessarily understand the spooky aspect of it, but it's been
Yeah.
catchy in the sense that people are really liking our robot series.
That's good.
It's definitely moved to probably our best selling product actually right now. Derek's done a phenomenal job with the hazies, and yeah, they're amazing. So they're selling really well for us.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, we have some of this back here as well. So I think a good question is, what are the beers that Lost Grove is known for?
Yeah.
And I think this is a pretty good selection of that. And I know there's more, but I mean, you can kind of run through it just a little bit. What would we say? Oh, Lost Grove for sure.
Yeah, and this is our core lineup right here, for the most part. So, we started out with our First Side IPA and then our Teddy Bear Picnic Golden Ale. Those were our two flagships that we created, and they've been pretty tried and true for us since day one. I think we got a lot of fans on both sides, and we're still slowly kind of making some little a few adjustments here and there, but very very minute adjustments. We just are always striving to try and make the best beer we can. And then Ghost Town Porter came along pretty close after that. Same with Crumble and Herb. So Crumble and Herb's more of a Northwest style IPA, where First Sight's more of that like juicy kind of New England style IPA. And then Teddy Bear Picnic's our Golden Ale, which it just is a great, easy drinking summer beer.
Yeah, it's perfect for that.
Yeah, and I love having that one in the summertime. We really see sales kind of tick up there. And then Ghost Town Porter, we just used to brew it kind of on occasion. It wasn't necessarily an all the time beer, but every time we'd brew it, we'd have more and more people being like, "Hey, where's Ghost Town Porter at?" When we run out, "Hey, we really want this porter." And so when we submitted for some resets for the store shelves, we submitted the Ghost Town Porter, and man, it's taken off like wildfire. It's really sold really well this whole winter time, and it's a coffee hazelnut porter, and it's delicious as well.
Yeah, it is.
And so I see why, but that one's really just kind of come to its own on the brand family.
Yeah.
And then I just spoke on our our robot series there. Robot Dragon was our last one in December. So one of the last 6-packs there. But yeah. So it's fun. I mean, the naming game's pretty tough, right? Like the thing with the names is, that's what you're able to trademark, right? And so there's a lot of big breweries out there that are putting trademarks on these big brand names,
right.
or going through and trademarking a bunch of names maybe that they don't even have yet. And so for us, we just really got to try and be creative, and make sure that with 7,000 plus breweries, 8,000 plus breweries, if everybody's making 10 beers, it's 80,000 beer names. So It's one that we always are just trying to be careful with and try and have fun with too, because it's a great way to kind of express who we are. And
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, well, speaking of that, I mean, when you go to the grocery store, I mean, it's when you go to the beer aisle, I mean, it's like going into a candy store. I mean, there's so many colors, there's so many designs, there's so many flavors. I mean,
for sure.
if you don't really know what you're looking for, you're gonna get confused, or it's just gonna you're just gonna be shell shocked, and you don't know what to do. And then what most people do is like, I'll just go back to my old faithful, because there's just so many options out there, which
Right.
is really cool, though. I mean, that's kind of the fun part of the industry, and the creativity of the design, and the naming of the beer. That's all part of it. So
Yep.
yeah,
And that's what we're just trying to keep working towards, being that old faithful.
yeah, just that you have a go to for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's go to. So
So everybody wants to know this. I feel, was it the 80s or the early 2000s that hefts were like kind of the big thing? I feel like Hefeweizen's were like huge, right? No one wanted to drink an IPA.
for
And
sure.
then out of nowhere it's IPA, and then out of nowhere it's hazy IPA.
Mm-hmm.
So are we stuck in hazy IPA, or are we moving on here down the road to something else?
Man, the trends are saying, the gap between IPA and hazy IPA though is pretty wild, right? There was like black IPA, Belgian IPA, white IPAs, double IPAs, right? Like I feel like every 6 months to a year there was like a new IPA style, and hazy's really the only one in a long while that's really kind of stuck. And I don't foresee hazy's going anywhere. I mean, they're still ripping in the market pretty crazy. IPAs though, as a whole, they're starting to lose a little bit of market share. People are starting to realize that they like those lighter ABV beers. They like that more sessionable
Mm.
product and something that is just nice to drink on a hot day and not going to get them real tuned up. And so we are starting to see a trend of, those lighter beers like Teddy Bear Picnic and,
Yeah.
those beers selling really well for us. And I think we'll continue to see even like lagers and pilsners, those craft versions of those products, start to pick up on the shelves as well.
Yeah.
So
And then is it, I always say this wrong. It's like, is it Kolsch? Kolsch?
Kolsch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that seems to be kind of a new thing too, that people are ordering more of.
Yeah, new old thing for sure, right? Like
Yeah.
the Kolsch beer is an old German style beer, and yeah, we came out with a little bit of Kolsch last year, and it's been doing okay, and they're starting to pick up. I really like them. It's a crisp beer, it's a little crispy boy.
Hmm.
It's got a little bit of the bitterness on the back end, but I think that's what people like as well. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and then we have a lot of merchandise there as well. And I asked Jake to bring some stuff. And then also, this is one of his outfits. And that you guys don't know this, but underneath Jake's sweatshirt, he's wearing the exact same shirt. And we were joking whether we should pull it off or not, but we didn't
right.
think that would probably be the way to go. So, but there's a couple things I want to hit on that actually you are known for, and really no one else in your industry is. So, you need to explain to us this certified B Corp.
Yeah. It's something that we always were striving to become when we first opened up Lost Grove. And again, COVID kind of gave us an opportunity to really kind of buckle down and, work towards that goal. But really for the B Corp, what it does for us is, to start off, what a certified B Corp is the easiest way to explain it is a business to use as a source for good. So it's a third party organization that kind of looks at your company as a whole. You got to go through pretty rigorous process that they kind of screen, where you're purchasing your products from, how you're treating your employees, how you treat your community, how you treat your investors. And they look at it as a whole to see if you're doing it above normal standards. And for us, what we really liked about it is it was a really good way to show us how to do business as young, business leaders and business owners. We're still trying to find our way. So it's a good, almost like mentor group for us to be able to, look at it and say, are we doing it right? When is the time for, offering health insurance, and how do we do that?
Mhm.
And so it was just a really cool process for us to, go through and then also be a part of. So we're one of, at this point, 20, I think, breweries in the country
Wow.
that are certified B Corps, and we're one of 19 businesses in Idaho that are certified B Corp. And so it's something for us. that we're excited to be able to hang our hat on. But then, at the same time, it's just been also an amazing tool for us to be able to help focus us as business leaders.
Yeah, and
So
great culture for the employees as well.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they want to come and be a part of your organization, make it successful.
They
Yeah,
do,
great.
yeah. We've had pretty good luck on the hiring pool. Just I think purely based on
Yeah.
the fact that we're a B Corp and our ethics and what we're about as a company. So
Yeah, you can definitely tell when you go in there. I mean, everybody's just super nice, gracious. They work hard. You have
awesome.
good staff. So
Glad to hear that.
yeah. And then another thing, carbon neutral certification. Talk about this.
Yeah, and that one, it's pretty interesting, right? For our business, especially, it was one thing that we're working towards continuing to do better, right? Because breweries themselves are it's a kind of a wasteful industry, so we're constantly striving to figure out how we can be less wasteful, and that's kind of what our beer fest is about, right? Is that we like to go and throw parties and beer fests, and that's what we love to do. But last year at Shade City Brew Fest, we had 10 bags of trash, and we had 3,000 people come through,
Wow.
and we had 5 food trucks, and so it was one of those where we used bamboo plates, and we had a team that was there washing them. We made everybody bring their own cup, so we didn't have things that we were throwing away. So it was just trying to be creative of ways to just not. It's so easy to create waste. Where we're trying to be like, well, let's be more creative on how to not create waste. Let's just take a little bit extra, and I think we can get there. And we were able to prove it last year. We hope this year we'll have even less waste is our goal.
Yeah.
But that's where kind of that carbon neutral comes from, is that for us to offset our carbon footprint, we felt that it's it's not where we want to be in the offsetting game, right? But it's at least something kind of deal, and
Yeah.
so we were able to find a really cool group that we use called Climate Hound, and they are an offset organization that helps offset kind of in similar business scapes as ours. So their current goal is that they're helping provide better ovens to third world countries so that they don't emit as much of a carbon footprint when just cooking in their homes. And so, it's small things like that, but we figure, just a little bit goes a long ways. And so if we can do that, then we can. And, our goal is to continue to try and be better and better about off-putting carbon. So
that's great.
Yeah.
And a lot of that information you can also find on your website, which is great, which is what?
Just lostgrovebrewing.com.
I love it.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up here, though, there's a couple things that you need to tell people about. I want to know how you can become a part of the social and bottle club memberships if someone wants to do that.
Yeah. So right now, I do believe we've closed both the social club and the bottle club memberships, but you can email us at lostgrovebrewing.com, and we'll get you on a wait list. I believe we'll be looking to potentially open those up again in the summertime. So we kind of want to do one in the summer and one in the winter when we open those up.
Perfect.
And so you get your name on that wait list, and we'll email you out saying, hey, memberships are open if you want to join.
What does it entail a little bit?
Yeah, so those are super fun. So like the bottle club membership is you get 2 of each of our barrel-aged beers, of our 5 barrel-aged beers that we release at basically a 20% discount if you buy them ahead of time. And so you'll also get introduced into a first tasting. So every time we release our barrel-aged beers, you'll be able to come by and do a first tasting with Derek, our head brewer, so that he can kind of talk about those beers and get kind of a first look, which is kind of cool.
Really cool.
And then same with on the social club membership side. So you're basically pre-purchasing pints. And when you sign up for the social club, I mean, it's a steal of a deal where I believe now when you sign up, the pints end up costing you like $3.50 or something like that. Instead of when you come in on a regular basis, you're paying the $6 or $7 for your pint. So, if you're going to be a regular at Lost Grove, the social club, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Way to go.
It's 4 beers a month basically that you get. And then also you're going to be first to know about any, volunteer opportunities that we have or any special releases that we have, and kind of get your name on the premier list to get direct information for what we got going on.
Wow.
So yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Well, one last thing. You're opening up a new location and you're always looking down the road. So, what is the latest and greatest thing that you're thinking in the future after you get done with this opening? Because I know you're not going to be done. Or
Right.
is there something else that Jake has planned for Lost Grove, in the next 4 to 5 years?
Nothing right now. I'm looking forward to getting this location up and operational, and then I'm getting married in August. So,
Congratulations.
got to focus on that right now.
Yeah.
Get this brewery,
You need to
get
get
this
everything
piece
done
up
now.
and going, and
Yeah.
exactly, and then get married, and then we'll kind of see, right? But we're real excited about this Hyde Park location and the opportunity that it, presents to us with Lost Grove and getting our brand out there. And, our focus is going to be these two locations for, their foreseeable future right now, just to, make sure that we're giving the best service we can and providing awesome food and great beers and rock and rolling. So,
yeah. All right. Well, you mentioned your website. Is there any other way that they can find you out there?
on our Instagram as well, or Facebook. So it's just Lost Grove Brewing on both of those two spots. But check us out. Haley, our marketing director, she's always putting together some amazing content. We started doing some video reels that have turned out really well. So we got some pretty funny ones on there.
Love it.
So yeah, those are the best ways to keep in tune with us and follow along.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you, Mr. Black, for being here today. Lost Grove Brewery. Really enjoyed our time together. Learned a lot from you. People, you got to go check out Lost Grove. Be looking for the grand opening up at Lucky 13. Maybe you get on that VIP list ahead of time. You
Old
never
Sunray,
know.
Old Sunray Cafe.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sunray Cafe. See, you tell how long I've been here where I still refer to it.
I know. I'm with
so
you.
My fault
No
on that
worries.
one. So thanks again. You can find us on Through the Woods podcast.com if you want to watch the video on this. And I just want to thank Associated Insurance Services for sponsoring this episode. And if you have any questions or comments for me, I'd love to hear it. We're always looking to find other people to interview, and we're always looking to improve. And then you can always reach out to me at Kyle@associatedins.com. And thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle. Appreciate it a bunch, man.